Thank you so much for joining us again tonight for our summit. We are so excited to have Charlene Bollinger with us today. And I've been wanting to interview Charlene for a very long time. Very familiar with her and Ty's work with Truth About Cancer, and so excited to have her. So you're in for a real treat for the next 35 minutes, folks. So Charlene, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for the invite. I look forward to the discussion.
Yeah, so start by telling a little bit about you and Ty and your work with Truth About Cancer and Truth About Vaccines, and then we'll go into the Great Awakening.
Yeah, sure. So Ty and I, he is my Braveheart. The year the movie came out, Braveheart, that was 1995. And actually I saw the movie and I said, I've got a Braveheart in this world somewhere. And literally 2 weeks later, I met Ty. We fell in love immediately. Our first date, he said, I don't mean to scare you, but I think I'm falling in love with you. Yeah. And 3 days later, I said it back. 9 days later, I had the ring on my finger. We almost just went out and got married, but God he took us out of the clouds, put us back on earth and reminded us that we had a family. So we went ahead for the wedding. And so 6 months from our first date, we were married. We were living the dream and Braveheart and Princess, living happily ever after. But 6 months into this amazing new life God gave us, we lost his dad. He was diagnosed with stomach cancer. He had pains in his stomach. So we brought him to the emergency room. We thought it was gallstones or something like that. They open him up, find cancer, say he's only 52. He's so young and it's so advanced. And at that time, we didn't know anything about the natural way to treat the body. We just knew that cancer equals death. And that's the way the doctors presented it too. They were good people. They just didn't have the solutions and answers. And we do unpack all of that in our films and content and books. But at the time we didn't know. And so they cut his stomach out, sewed him up. And what did him in was that surgery. He bled to death. He had various surgeries. They couldn't keep the blood inside of him. It was a botched surgery and that killed him. So that was our introduction into the world of cancer and the medical realm. So we lost his dad's dad and his dad's brother and cousin all in that first year. We lost his mom's mom and then his mom's dad, and finally the straw that broke the camel's back. And we had been researching from the very beginning. In 2004, we lost his mom. And at that time, we knew there was a better way. We had done the research. We were connected to innovators, great doctors and so forth. So we were on a mission from that point on to save lives so that other families didn't have to be plundered like ours was. So we wrote and self-published a book called Cancer Step Outside the Box. We released it in 2006, and that was our gift to the world. And it went to the top of the charts, but that's when the death threats started coming in, because now we put our hand in a hornet's nest, basically. Those people
are very big business.
Yes, they don't want to be exposed. And Ty and I don't mess around. We tell the whole truth. We don't hold back. We're not afraid. God has given us a spirit of boldness and trust in him that he's called us and he's protecting us, and we're going to do this work. And so we continue. We make films now, and we've reached many millions of people around the world. Right now, what we're dealing with, because we have films about the vaccine and vaccine content, and they really want to push the vaccine on the world, they're censoring us. Now the mainstream news from CNN to News Nation, I'm trying to remember all these things. We've got fans reaching out saying, yeah, they're hitting you again on this show. And the AP, Associated Press, just came out with a couple hits, and there's more incoming. We're just like every day getting hit by something new. We're on a list with, you've interviewed Sherry Tenpenny, well, she's not on that list. No, she is. She's on that list with us. Disinformation doesn't. So we've got Bobby Kennedy, Joe Mercola, Aaron Elizabeth, and so forth. Other leaders, Sayer G, they're talking about the truth about vaccines and COVID and so forth. So they don't want the world to know. People are waking up, and we're not going to stop. We are fighting for our children, for their future, for America. We love this nation, all for the honor and glory of God. We're just not going to stop.
Yeah, no, we're not going to stop. And you're right. God's going to protect the people who speak truth. The truth is God's truth. That's what it is. It's we're here to get that out there. And it's amazing the work that you guys are doing. So So now the vaccines, that's more of a focus for you right now, right? Because it's so in our face.
Well, that's a big focus for sure. And they've made it a bigger focus than we've been. We released The Truth About Vaccines 2020 in 2020, April. In 2019, Ty and I knew that we needed to focus, and we're equally focused on cancer. In fact, we just released The Truth About Cancer, a Global Quest final chapter, 9-part series, which was a culmination of 150 interviews we've done through the years.
Wow.
And it's really a beautiful series. And we do cover the vaccine issue and the link to cancer and COVID and so forth in that series. And then we have cancer survivors at the very end. But as always, in the first episode, we always cover the history behind the medical cartel so that people can understand. The most common questions we get, Clyde, from people that follow us when they first find out about us is, well, if all this is true and there's so many solutions and there are healing modalities to cancer outside of chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery, why does my doctor not know? So we as educators, we've collected a lot of great information. We don't just give opinion, we give facts. So when we unpack the truth, we give the scientific studies or the cases, the points, and the points in history, who did what and so forth. So we go back to 1910, the Flexner brothers, that the Carnegies and Rockefellers sent out in America to grade the medical schools. And when they did that, remember the Rockefellers owned the chemical companies, which today we call pharmaceutical companies.
Right.
So the schools that were teaching the drug intensive medicine got A pluses, the herbalists, chiropractors, and so forth. The healing modalities that God literally gave us in the Garden of Eden that were being taught
The homeopath.
and mainstream,
The
right?
homeopath.
They were all demonized as quacks after the schools that got funded, the drug intensive therapies that they were educating the students, they got funded 500 million, which today is in the billions. So they basically bought off the American medical colleges, the schools.
The colleges.
And so then they started writing the curriculum, they put the people on the boards.
Right.
And so the other schools went by the wayside. They couldn't afford to compete with these high-end schools because they had all the new innovation and so forth, and PR and marketing. And so they were getting the kids, the others weren't. And from that time, they started demonizing natural modalities that had been utilized for thousands of years. Now they call themselves conventional medicine, traditional medicine. Well, no, traditional medicine has been around for traditions for many years, for millennia. They're the new kids on the block. They just started this in 1910, really. And so here we are with a complete medical tyranny with the push for this vaccine. They want vaccine papers. So Ty and I, though, we have a ministry to cancer patients and help people to understand how to bring their body that may be unhealthy back into balance or prevent disease by being healthy and giving them solutions. We've interviewed many world-class doctors, not just in America, but in Canada, Mexico, Australia, Europe, and Asia. We've been all over the world. And the vaccine thing that we released in April, we knew that their agenda with Healthy People 2020 was to take all of our religious and philosophical exemptions away from us, so that we can no longer say, well, there's aborted fetal tissue. As a Christian, that's an abomination, and I'm not going to put that in our children. Not only because I religiously disagree, but also the fact is that when you take a foreign DNA from another baby, and if maybe the baby's a boy, and you're putting it into a little girl. I mean, there's so much to unpack around that DNA. That's just one of many abominations. Their goal was to take our outdates away from us, and by 2030, have everyone on planet Earth vaccinated. Right. So we got into the TTAV 2020, releasing it in April, not knowing the COVID thing. We just knew people needed to know about vaccines. So when we released this, it was the height of the COVID pandemic push. You got to social distance, you got to wear the mask and all this stuff, and the vaccine's coming, warp speed, whatever. So that release was a big one. And that was so big and successful because people were searching and trying to figure out, what is this vaccine? What is this all about? So the audience was huge. And one comment that we got that really is summing up what I'm trying to say, a woman, she said, going into this series and watching it, I thought beforehand that the people that refused the vaccines were the most selfish people on earth. Because remember, if you don't get vaccinated, it's because you're selfish. If you don't wear a mask, you're selfish. She said, but after watching the docuseries, she realized that the people that weren't vaccinated were actually the smartest people in the world. And then she proceeded to thank us for the series, because now she's educated. Now she understands. Now she's armed with the facts and the knowledge, which is very powerful. So why are they censoring us? Because they don't want people to understand. They don't want them to have the power that sets them free. The truth sets us free. John 8:32. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. That's written in the very fabric of the physical universe, by God himself. And he says in Hosea 4, I think it's verse 12, that my people perish for lack of knowledge. And see, that's what's been taken. Our family members, we lost 7 family members because of censorship. We didn't have the information. We do now. And we've given it to the world. It's our passion to do so. And what are they doing? They're censoring us. They're lying about us. So people here, Ty and Charlene, they want to make those names, our brand, synonymous with liars, hucksters. We're just here to make money, when in reality, we are living. We have sacrificed so much. We had to move out of the country because they were threatening the lives of all 4 of our children. We're not here to get anything. We're here to give life to humanity. And the payback by the deep state is the lies and the smears. Like, you read our book, Cancer Step Outside the Box, we unpack the story about Royal Raymond Rife. They wanted that technology. He wouldn't give it to them because he knew they would bury it and the people of this world could not benefit from it. So they came in and destroyed his life. They're like little babies having a tantrum that have not been trained. If they don't get what they want, they'll destroy you. Well, I have news for these people. God's everlasting arms are underneath us. He called us to this work. He has, by his word, put the universe in its place, and he's coming again. And these people will have to give an account. And if they're watching this, I encourage them to look to Jesus, repent of working against humanity and all that is good. Put your faith and trust in him, and join the good side, join the light, and help us to save lives. And then when you face God, you won't have to shrink back in shame, because this life is a blink of an eye. And I'm going to spend this little blink working for humanity.
Right. Oh, it's such a great opportunity to do something now at this time, to be alive right now at this time, and be part of this, and be part of what you would call the Great Awakening, and all these centuries of abuse by the people you're talking about, the same people that put in this whole system of medicine in this country. I mean, they've been around for a long time. We all know who they are. I mean, Ed Griffin, I know you guys have worked with Ed Griffin a lot about this. I mean, he knows more about the cabal and the bankers and all these people that, it's all about control. It's a tremendous rush to control other people. It's like a drug. That's their drug, is power and control over others. And it's gone so far that I believe God now is just coming up and saying, rise up and speak the truth. And that truth resonates. It has its own resonance. It has its own power, and nothing's going to stop it. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. So, that's.
Yes. I like the little meme that circulated around with a lion that said, the truth doesn't have to defend itself. Just let it out. It'll defend itself. Or
Right.
Just like a lion, the lion doesn't need to stand there and give reasons for why he's doing what he's doing. The lion's just going to come at you. That's the truth. I mean, the truth is not going to change. They can try to hide it. They can put it in a box and try to contain it. But people like us are going to continue to tell the truth. And every time they try to censor us, they're just enlarging our territory, because what we're saying is the truth. And we have facts to back up everything that we say. Our audience has been set free, and many, many people around the world that in a lot of cases have been sent home to die because of the content, whether it's our books, articles, interviews, or documentaries that we've produced. People that has penetrated the world, the whole wide world. So we have people in all these different countries we've been in watching our content or learning or reading, and they're alive because of it. And that was always our goal. So those people aren't going anywhere. So every time that CNN hits us or anybody else, They're of course, they're preaching to the choir, and that choir is there to stay. But there are people that are in their choir that are on the fence wondering, what is this all about? So every time they talk about us, even though they're lying, there are people searching for us and they're finding us. So we're saving more lives. So this is the Great Awakening. They have pushed us way too hard. God himself is sitting on the throne. This is a spiritual warfare. Truly, this is some serious evil forces going against humanity. And when you said they're greedy, you're right. They're greedy because money is not enough. They want power. They want control. They want domination. When they look at this world, they look at us as their little cattle or their little sheep to be controlled. We're going to just get you all together and put you in this pen and that pen, Agenda 21. They have it all mapped out as to what parts of America are going to be destroyed by floods or fires or whatever. And they're going to herd us into this area, into that area, because if you have a high concentration of people in a small area, they're easier to control. But you've got, Mike Adams is another good friend of ours. We talk about this a lot, but you get gun-toting, American-loving, First Amendment people that are living in the country and sprinkled from coast to coast. What are they going to do? How can they really control us like that?
Right.
So they are control freaks and they work for their father, the devil. Now they can be set free, and I talk a lot about the gospel and the content in which we produce and put out there. But greater is he who is in us than he who is in the world. God has called us to this work. He's doing something amazing and wonderful. The other side has pushed us way too hard for this COVID. And some people that I thought would never wake up are now waking up.
I was just going to say they don't know when to stop, and that's one of their greatest weaknesses. They won't stop, and it gets so bad that people that normally would never think about waking up or challenging authority or anything, they start to realize how bad it is because they're just pushing so hard, like what they're doing to the kids in schools. We were just talking about that and things like that. Finally, people are waking up because they realize how bad it's getting. And so, it's really an amazing time. What do you envision here for the next, in the next few years? How long is this going to take for the turning point, or, that getting around the bend till we turn this corner on, all this evil that's going on right now, like the vaccines and all that?
Right. Well, I can say with certainty, God's timing is perfect on all of this. He's already got this mapped out. From eternity past, he had the days in which we're walking and living completely fixed and finished and complete. Mm-hmm. So while the devil may bring it, God sends it. And it really, truly is all for our good. Romans 8:28, Genesis 5:20. But because they're pushing us so hard and they're being revealed, even their censorship of us is not working. Death threats coming in and lies and smears. It's just, they can't change the truth. Mm-hmm. And people, they want to know what's going on. The fact that they were able to mask the whole world, which by the way, I did not mask. I did not social distance. I just encourage parents, if you can, I believe that they really can. I have. Educate your children at home. Because the more children that are really educated and loved and nurtured at home, they can think critically. And so they won't fall prey to the indoctrination. These schools are nothing more than, it's almost like a prison. It's an institution. And these kids are going into an institution to be indoctrinated. Now, we've all seen the videos and the tapes of trannies, some of which literally look like demons. I've seen pictures of some man that had so much makeup on, it was shocking, but this big wig and these horns, like 7 horns hanging and very sharp at the top and big, and almost like with a clown outfit. I just think that must be scary to the little children, or the parents allowing children to be around this, that the poor little child has been desensitized. Our goals with our children when they were very young was to nurture them, to love them, to educate them, but not to put before them things that would be such a traumatizing image that it would tear down their psyche and their thinking. We know that the communistic goals that they have, that they set out to bring in full-blown communism, which is really Satanism. one of those things, I'm trying to think through the top 20 they have, but with children, their goal is to demoralize them and expose them to explicit sexual imagery, videos, so that they can take down the beautiful purity and moral fabric God put in them. Because the sooner they can do this in their lives, then the easier they are to control. Because if they don't have any values and they're not anchored into the truth or into loving and honoring their parents, honoring the elders of our society, or being respectful and kind to their peers, and all those beautiful things that make a town or a city or a state or even a nation beautiful, which this nation was built on those principles. Today, our children are being demoralized so that they're easier to plug into the state. I have a family that I knew the children before, the two of which there's four, there's two of them that weren't even born yet. And with the mother, we prayed for these children, prayed for my children. But these children, the difference between our children and their children is these children were sent out to a school. Now, it was a Christian school, but it was, in the system. There's not really a lot of difference.
Right.
Then they go to one of the most liberal colleges in the country. And these kids, I never thought this would be possible with these children, but they love BLM and Antifa and the poor downtrodden Black people, which, Candace Owen, she has a really good counter to all those things that they're trying to infuse in the hearts and minds of our children. Mm-hmm. She's amazing. So, these kids, they follow me on social media. They started unfollowing me and blocking me because I'm talking about freedom. I'm a patriot. I love America. And I'm actually friends with some of the Trump family. And so I talk about that. They think Donald Trump is a demon. Whatever you think about his push on the vaccine, that's kind of confusing, but he did a lot of good. And so it's just, even children from families, you feel like this is a solid family, you send them out into the world and they may come from the best family, but the biggest influence they're getting is not from the family. It's from that institution, which is indoctrinating the children. And so the finishing touches is the college system. So parents need to be, if they want to maintain the integrity and purity and honor of their child, and they want that child to truly be happy, because these kids that I'm describing, they're not happy. They're filled with anger, and it's pitting one group against another, when that is not why God created us. We're called to love one another.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you watch, it's very, very hard for me to do this, but if you watch CNN for even just a few minutes, you can see the hate and the anger that they're preaching and that they're indoctrinating people with constantly, hour after hour. And so when I went to DC on January 6th, I couldn't believe how angry people were, the liberals in the family and friends. And I mean, the letters I got, email, how dare you go to DC and support your president?
Indoctrination.
It's so unbelievable. And so, I've been interacting with them as much as I could and trying to bring as much love to them as I can. And some of them are responding, but it's tough, because if you're constantly subjecting yourself to that propaganda day after day, like my oldest son does, because he's a day trader, and so he watches CNN all day long. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, I can't talk.
Worst. Yeah. CNN is the worst. And they're all bad, but CNN, it's the worst. And I know I haven't watched CNN in maybe 20 years. And when they hit me, and I have friends calling me, I knew the hit was coming just hours before it came. So I saw it live, but then the next day they had a whole half-hour segment. So I had a good friend that's connected to all the media people. She's like, "Oh, Charlene, I'm so sorry. This is on." I'm like, I missed it. So she said, "Go, mate. They loop stuff." So I went in there, never saw the reloop, never saw what that was, but it was an eye-opening experience. Like you're saying, to watch CNN,
right?
All I saw was Fauci and you need to social distance, put your mask on, and the savior of the vaccine is coming, which, by the way, isn't it in Brazil that big Jesus thing is up? And it says, vaccine safe, on our savior, on just a statue of our savior. And some people say, hey, it's sacrilegious to even have that statue, but to put vaccine save on Jesus, was that the devil that came and playing with spray paint? Because that is demonic. That is just demonic. And that's what CNN is doing. They're setting up Fauci and Big Pharma and the vaccine manufacturers and the coming vaccine as the savior of humanity. Well, I have news for them. Jesus Christ is a savior, and he's given us an immune system to fight viruses and sicknesses and so forth. And if you know how to boost that, you're in good shape. We don't get sick because we're deficient on aborted fetal cell lines. We don't get sick because we need mercury and aluminum in our brains. You know, that's not what we're lacking. We're lacking in what we're putting into our bodies. We're eating toxins. We're being steeped in the air, through the water, and many different things, in the pharmaceutical drugs, and now the vaccines, which are completely toxic. This is why we have a problem with obesity, disease, sickness, and early death. But CNN, everything that's true, they're lying about everything. It was like a free, well, I know Big Pharma is paying for it, a lot of it, a lot of money for it, but it was like just one nonstop infomercial for the COVID lockdown, why they're justifying it, and the savior of the vaccine's coming. That's all CNN is. There was no news. There was no real journalism at all on that station.
No, well, you know, I'm sure you know this, but us and New Zealand are the only two countries in the world that are allowed to have pharmaceutical ads on TV, and their budget is so huge at CNN that they have control over these stations. From that, I mean, they have lots of ways of controlling our news media, but that's a big one. You know, the amount of money, the advertising money that goes to those stations. So yeah, I mean, they just stick with the agenda of the pharmaceutical industry, pharmaceutical, medical, congressional, industrial complex, which is running our country right now. So, but it's like I said, let's go to the positive. The positive is they have overstepped their bounds. They continue to do that. People are awakening, and that's the great awakening. And I just think that, I wanted to say, you and Ty both talked in Tulsa, correct? At that event in Tulsa? My feeling from watching that, I was watching it on TV and doing my interviews, and I felt a shift. And the shift I felt was like if you're watching a really good football game and one team is on the defense the whole time, and all of a sudden they turn it around and now they're in the offense. And that's what I felt like that week. That week was a shift, you know? And what did you think? I mean, did you guys feel that being there?
Yeah, being there was is such a blessing to see a sea of maskless faces. And we've been doing this for so long. In 2020, October of 2020, I did an event here in Nashville to help our country. And our vision was to turn, you know, the everything around, and then trying to remember the stage of events. And we were not masking. Of course, the media, local media hit us for that and stuff. But our vision was to see a sea of maskless people that were awake. So at that event, I had Clay Clark come in, I had Roger Stone come in, I had Nikki Willis from Plandemic, Mike Smith from Out of Shadows, if you've heard of that. It was a pretty good one.
Out of Shadows.
Yeah, and some other people, but it was a pretty cool event. But a lot of connections were made, and our visions were infused. And so having that event in Tulsa was a combination of our vision. And, you know, I've got other leaders that are touring the country, and I'm going to be a part of that a little bit to help them. So a lot of us are coming together with this vision that was given to us by God.
The Arise America tour? Are you talking about the Arise America tour?
Yes, Sasha Stone. Yeah, Sasha. Yeah. So that's happening right now too. And some of the people that are going to be speaking with us on the Clay Clark's Health and Freedom thing will be in some of these places as well. So there's all the leaders are really working on just going out there, talking to the people face to face, giving them the boldness that they need, that they've been lacking, to just go out there without a mask. Because I mean, Ty and I we went on our anniversary here to Nashville where they were still masking, and we don't mask. We were walking through there, and there was even a janitor chasing us. Here's a mask, put a mask on. We're like, oh, no thanks. Yeah. We just don't wear masks. Right. And so Ty got into a conversation with a guy he had a mask on, and Ty didn't have a mask. So they just started to talk. And the guy just talking to Ty gave him the boldness he was looking for. He ripped that mask off, threw it on the ground. He said, I'm done. I'm not wearing this bleepity mask anymore. Right. And so people that are listening, I just want to encourage them that they can do the same thing, because I know your listeners are pretty smart, and people coming on board that may not understand everything we're unpacking all at once, but they're here for a reason. They're here because they want to learn what's really going on. Is there hope? Absolutely, there's hope. So everybody that's listening, go out there proudly without your mask. Now, right now, they're opening up some states. Thankfully, in Tennessee, they're kind of opening it up. So it's looking more normal, but there's still people with masks on. You can get in those conversations with the people around you. I also encourage people to go to your local government, talk to your sheriff, because that's a guy that can really protect you. Down in Florida, where our next event with Clay is going to happen in Tampa. That's mid-June. A good friend of mine is hosting it, Pastor Rodney Howard Brown. Well, Rodney went to jail. His sheriff, he would not close his church down. And so I encourage people, don't close your business. If you've closed it, open it back up. You're an American. These are not laws. These are suggestions. Don't be intimidated. That's how we're going to save this country. That's one by one, coming together to say no to tyranny. Right. So those are the solutions. So here's what Rodney did. He did not close his church down. They were saying, close your church down. This big scary germ might get you. And Rodney's like, no, we cannot close the church down. God has called us to assemble. Do not forsake the assembling of one another. So he didn't. The sheriff came, arrested him, brought him to jail. And honestly, there were other leaders in our movement. Well, why did he open his church up? And I'm thinking, of course he's going to do that. He's a patriot and he's trusting God. And so later he came back, and that same sheriff later came back and said, you know what, Rodney, you were right. I'm going to protect you. I'm here to support you. What can I do? So the influence we can have over our own sheriff or deputies, police force, mayor. Yes. Yeah. So we just have to individually and collectively together do the work. There's a lot of hope.
You have to find, if you don't have a constitutional sheriff, you have to elect one. You have to find one that will run and make him sheriff, because it's a critical office. I've been involved with Sheriff Mack since 2012, and that's a big part of the Arise America tour too. Is Sheriff Mack is on that. Yeah, so that's fantastic. Oh man, I'm so excited really, because I think it's coming around. I think the Arise America tour is just going to keep that momentum going that was created in Tulsa, and we're starting to turn things around, and people are waking up and realizing what's going on. So. I'm so happy that you and Ty both could be in the summit, because it's going to come out in July, and right during the Arise America tour. And we've already interviewed all of them: Sasha, Robert David Steele, Caroline Shang, and Trent Luce. So we've already got them all talking about the tour. So we're going to do whatever we can. I'm going to be at a few of the locations here in Florida. By the way, you said about Florida, I just wanted to let you know that I took my grandkids to the fair, the county fair, the other day in here in Palm Beach County. And there was somebody at the entrance, get this, reminding people that they did not have to wear a mask.
Wow, that is so awesome. I love what DeSantis has done with Florida.
I know.
I mean, you guys know. Beware about the California people, though. They want to leave California because they're voting and everything. The policies have destroyed the state. So they're leaving and coming to your state.
I know.
But it's beautiful to see that.
I know.
Lots of people. Be careful. And that's what Mike Adams, I was listening to a situation update today. I love listening to him. But he said, everybody's moving from California to Texas too. He said, if you're going to move to Texas, you got to think and act and behave like a Texan. You got to vote conservative. You got to honor God. You've got to love your guns and Second Amendment and the First Amendment, because these people, they destroy one state, and then they move and they end up wrecking the one that they're going to. Yeah,
I know. Well, hopefully they're leaving their state and waking up and realizing that the reason that their state is such a mess is because it's the way they were voting. So hopefully I know that whole argument, but I got to think that these days there's got to be a pretty big percentage of those people that are going to vote the right way. So let's hope that's true.
But that's why what you're doing is so important.
Yeah.
That's why the Arise Tour is so important. That's why what we're doing with Clyde Clark is so important. we need to help people to understand and wake up, because I mean, we see ex-liberals, people that thought, there were people that thought BLM was good, that they started listening to the other side, because we're coming into the streets. You're not going to stop us. Go ahead and try to take us off Facebook or wherever else we're at that everybody knows is all fake. It's fake book. I mean, these fact checkers are funded by big pharma. This is Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson. I mean, they're funding, of course they're censoring us. They want to sell their vaccine. Are you kidding me? I mean, this is like such a joke. We're coming into the streets, so you can't stop us.
You know how many times I've heard from people in my own family, oh, that's been debunked by the fact checker. Did you go to see what Wikipedia said about him? I just have to laugh. I mean, it's
my goodness.
Wikipedia is not controlled by the same people that control CNN. Oh my God. It's
hard. It's hard to get through.
It is.
But that another thing I encourage is a great awakening is happening. I just encourage people to not waste their time on those that will not listen. They're a closed book. They're in the choir for CNN or whatever. Really focus on the ones that are on the fence, that are listening, that want to know. That way, when we pull more in, eventually the one that's hardcore against you is watching all this, especially family members. And I've had people, Ty has to, through the years of doing this together, we've had people that thought we were completely insane. That today are 100% with us. We've even featured some of these people in our films, and they've had a big impact in the influence that they've had. So it's just like a tsunami effect. Starting out with a little ripple,
two of the 10 people
we are a tsunami.
That's right. And 2 of the 10 people that we've been working with all year and setting up events were liberals a year ago. So it is happening, and you're right. Don't waste your time on the ones that you're never going to get. Work on the ones that you have a chance of moving in the right direction. So I agree with that 100%. Well, listen, our time is up. That went like that. That was like the fastest 35 minutes I've ever seen. But anyway, thank you so much for everything that you are doing and that Ty is doing, and the tour. I hope the tour goes well. Maybe I'll see you here in Florida. Are you going to be on the tour in Florida?
Yes.
Okay. I'll probably see you.
The Arise tour, you mean?
The Arise tour, yeah.
Well, I'll be with Clyde Clark in Tampa, but I don't know if I can make those other dates with the Arise team. So when they're closer to me, I'm going to join them where I am. I wish I had more time to join them on more dates, but love what they're doing. Our hearts are with them, and we communicate with them a lot. So together we're going to change it and turn it all around.
The Great Awakening it's here. It's here. It's happening before our eyes.
It absolutely is. It sure is. And I'm encouraged.
Well, thank you for your courage. You guys are amazing, and I really appreciate it. And everyone, thank you for coming today and hearing this amazing woman. And, go out and spread the word. It's websites, truthaboutcancer.com.
Yes, the main hub where it contains everything. All of our social media channels are at the top. Articles, content, products page where you can find our films, books, and so forth. thetruthaboutcancer.com.
Right. And if you want to donate to a worthy cause, just buy their gold package. You guys still have the gold package?
Yeah, we have everything on our website. The most recent, The Truth About Cancer Global Quest final chapter. And then we, of course, have The Truth About Vaccines 2020 on there available.
Right. I've shared those videos with many people over the years. So fantastic work. So thank you so much for coming. And thank you, Charlene.
Thank you so much. God bless.
God bless. I'm going to turn that on.